let's talk about Ricoma embroidery machines. You may have noticed that the one that I have, the MT1501, is pretty darn industrial looking. And that's because it is. It's one of Ricoma's 15 needle commercial embroidery machine offerings. This means it's going to have a pretty rigid design, meaning it's not going to look as consumer friendly as a domestic embroidery machine. But that's because they're built for a little bit of self-servicing, so you don't have to call somebody in to help you every time something is broken, and also to run for several hours at a time, putting out tons of hats and beanies and sweatshirts and towels. That said, these more industrial looking embroidery machines can be a little intimidating. Unless you have prior experience with machine embroidery, all those knobs and bells and whistles that are completely exposed to you with an industrial version of an embroidery machine, they're going to be pretty darn scary. But let's say you've gotten your feet wet with machine embroidery and you kind of want to take that next step forward. Maybe you're just tired of talking to other brands that try to shortchange you on all of the extra hoops and optional parts that you have to buy. Because let me tell you, when they come at you with a $14,000 or $16,000 price tag and then say, hey, we're tossing in 3 hoops, you're getting screwed over. And that, my friends, is the domestic sewing and embroidery tax. So while that bad boy right there looks super duper industrial and scary to your average consumer, Ricoma does actually offer other machines. I just happen to have this one because I'm a pro. Or at least I sleep better at night if I tell myself that. So whether you're a hobbyist that wants bigger hoops or more needles so you can avoid changing thread every 30 seconds, or you're just starting a really small machine embroidery business and you want a reliable machine that can still run from inside your home with a more domestic feel to it. One quick disclaimer before I move into talking about the machines. Please understand that at the time of recording this video, the prices that I mentioned may have changed. They could be lower, they could be higher. A lot of it depends on the economy and if there's a sale going on, plus whatever package you choose. So as always, please consult Ricoma to get a finalized price for any of the machines that you have an interest in. So without any further delay, let's start with the EM1010. As you can see, Ricoma is not playing around with their entry-level machine. They didn't just start with 6 needles, they started with 10 whole flippin' needles. Because let's be honest, if you're gonna get 6, you might as well just add 4 more. The price of the EM1010 starts at around $8,300 US, which may sound high, but it comes with the steel frame stand, 10 needles, a 7-inch LCD touchscreen, 4 hoops, and the hat ring, hat driver, and the hat hooping station. I can't emphasize enough how important that is because with other brands, you tend to get only like a couple of hoops that are really small, and then you have to pay another $1,200 just to get the ability to do a hat. As far as performance goes, this bad boy clocks in 1,000 stitches per minute, and it has an embroidery area size of 310 millimeters by 210 millimeters. That's roughly 12 inches by 8 inches for those of you who love imperial units. Also, you probably won't have to hire a mover to get it into your workspace. The machine alone weighs just shy of 100 pounds. When you combine it with the stand, it's about 143 pounds. That's actually not too bad. Next is the TC1501, which is the domestic-friendly version of my MT1501. As you may have noticed in the name, it implies it has 15 needles, which is a good 5 over the EM1010. I think we're starting to see a trend with the naming here. The TC1501's pricing starts at $12,700. It comes with a high-definition LCD touchscreen, just like my MT1501, and 11 flippin' hoops. I don't mean flipping hoops. I just mean like flippin' flappin' hoops. Like freaking hoops. 11. And at the risk of sounding like the old school ShamWow guy and getting overly excited, it comes with 2 of the hat rings. Oh yeah, and the hat driver and the hat hooping station, which means you can take those 2 hat rings and basically have one prepped and one on the machine and easily start swapping them out to do things in bulk and quickly. It's also a touch faster than the EM1010, running in at about 1,200 stitches per minute, And the work area size is a whopping 75% larger, making it 20.5 inches wide by 13.8 inches tall. Don't you guys love it when I switch between metric and imperial? All that said, it is kind of like on the cusp of needing to bribe weightlifters to get it into your home. The machine alone weighs 265 pounds, and it's well over 300 pounds once you have it on the provided stand. If you're like me and your workspace is on the second floor, I would actually consider putting that one on the first floor. Now, the next two machines I'm going to talk about are the Swift and the Swift XL. They were released by Ricoma in the fall of 2023. The Swift and the Swift XL come with a brand new 10.1-inch touchscreen LCD screen. Basically, the screen allows you to have more intuitive access to your machine than any of the other Ricoma machines, because basically they've iterated on this design and have made all of the improvements, which have now launched with the Swift and the Swift XL. So what's the difference? Well, basically, the Swift has 20 needles and is a little more compact. The Swift XL, however, has 15 needles, but is huge. If you're someone who's going to be doing a lot of jackets and blankets and bulky items, you might want to consider the XL. The Swift can run up to 1,200 stitches per minute, while the Swift XL's maximum speed is 1,000 stitches per minute. That's likely so it can manage all the bulk of a larger work area. Remember, just because you can go the max speed doesn't mean you should. Speaking of the work area, the Swift XL sports a whopping 31.5 inch wide by 19.7 inch tall work area. By contrast, the Swift is the same as the TC1501 at 20.5 inches wide by 13.8 inches tall. I personally can never see myself needing more than 20 inches, but you never know. Both machines come with the 11 hoops and 2 of the hat rings, plus the driver and the hoop station. The Swift weighs the same as the TC1501, which is 265 pounds. The Swift XL is guaranteed to break Catherine the Great's back at 364 pounds. When you have it on the stand, it's 574 pounds. Once again, you may have to bribe your local weightlifting team or actually just be responsible and hire movers to help you get it into the home. And if you're wondering about how to handle the whole service aspect of a machine that big, because it's not like you're going to lift it and put it in the back of your car, basically they have 7 days of support with video conferencing tech. And if you really need to, they will find a local tech to help you to come into your home and fix any problems that are not serviceable on your own. Now, forgive me while I knock on every bit of wood that I have in my room, because I sure as heckadoodle don't want to have to lift that thing and put it in my car. Now, of course, pricing is going to vary between the two models, even though one has 20 needles and the other has 15, but one is smaller and then one is larger. Basically, the Swift itself runs for roughly $14,000 to $15,000, and the Swift XL is more like $17,000 to $18,000. And if the price is kind of scaring you, I challenge you to call a local dealer for any other kind of brand that may be more known as a household name, and ask them how much their 10 needle with 3 hoops and no hat hoop cost you. Oh yeah, and no stand. Yeah, that's right. You got to pay extra for their stands because reasons. For the record, I'm not bitter. I just wish I had shopped around and maybe found Ricoma earlier in my machine embroidery career. So now that I've gone through those 4 machines that are more domestic friendly offerings by Ricoma, why don't we look at a comparison of all of the models so I can kind of give you an idea of how they all line up against each other. Each machine has one head. Yes, Ricoma does offer multi-headed embroidery machines, but those are kind of beyond the scope of this video. As you can see from the chart, the EM1010 is definitely the base model. It gives you 10 needles for the same price that you'll pay for a 6 needle from other household brands, and the provided hat driver can only do 220 degrees of coverage as opposed to the 270 degrees of coverage of the other machines. It's also the cheapest and lightest weight of the Ricoma machines, which really does make it a great entry-level multi-needle machine. One thing to note about that hat hoop is the degrees of coverage are basically around the brim. So if you are interested in having a design go as close to the brim as possible, that's actually really easy to configure in the machine itself. It's not hard-coded. You can actually change the configuration of your hoops in the machine settings themselves. This also makes it a lot easier to use a third-party hoop brand such as Mighty Hoop, but Ricoma sells them on their site as well. While the TC1501 and the Swift XL both have 15 needles, the TC1501 is actually faster just with a smaller work area. It's better compared against the Swift, which is slimmer and comes with 5 additional needles for a total of 20. The Swift and the Swift XL really stand out with their newer LCD panel designs. The panels aren't just for looks, they provide additional functionalities such as design editing, automatic firmware updates over Wi-Fi, design combinations, and a much larger memory capacity for storing your designs on the machine itself. There's basically 2 features that I love about the new Swift line and their LCD panel that I really do drool over. First, you don't have to transfer files using a little USB key. You can actually transfer them using cloud storage that Ricoma provides with a private URL just for your account. Second, you can use other embroidery file formats, unlike the older machines like mine that only take DST. So given my business needs and where I am today with machine embroidery, if I were to start all over again and had the choice, I would actually get the Swift. It doesn't cost much more than the TC1501, and you get all of the newer features of the newly designed LCD panel, so it's kind of a no-brainer for me. I feel like the Swift XL is more geared toward people who want to do really large and bulky items like gem bags, heavy coats, quilts, blankets, and more. Those just aren't things that I tend to embroider on the regular, and I don't know, maybe if I did more quilting, I guess I could see myself getting a Swift XL, but since I hate quilting, that's not happening. Now, I am a Ricoma partner, but I'm not being paid for this video. I basically just went through their website and grabbed all the information that's publicly available. However, if you would like to support the channel and my ability to buy more fabric I absolutely intend to use at some point in the future, please feel free to check the description of the video just below. I have a referral link that can be used to start a conversation with someone at Ricoma and talk about what machine best fits your needs. In fact, you can't even go to their website and just add to cart one of the machines. You need to work with someone to create a package that works for you, work through financing if you need that or want that, and potentially talk about sales and discounts. Which, by the way, is everything you'd be doing inside a dealer for an embroidery machine of other household brands, except without somebody breathing down your neck while you try to make a last-minute and spontaneous decision with your credit card. Feel free to leave any questions about the machines that were discussed in this video in the comments section below. And as always, have a wonderful day.